Silence is misunderstood because people associate it with passivity, but in reality, silence is an active decision to conserve power. Every word you speak carries energy, and when you spend that energy explaining yourself, defending your choices, or arguing with people who don't control your future, you leak strength. Silence keeps that strength contained. It allows you to direct your mental and emotional resources toward growth instead of distraction, which immediately increases your capacity to move forward with clarity. When you stay silent, your vision becomes safer. Not everyone needs access to what you're building, and not everyone will handle that information with care. Some people respond to your goals with doubt, others with envy, and some with subtle discouragement disguised as advice. Silence shields your vision from unnecessary influence. It gives your ideas time to mature without being distorted by external opinions that were never meant to shape your path. Silence also sharpens focus. Talking creates a false sense of progress, making you feel accomplished before the work is done. When you remove the outlet of conversation, the only way to relieve the internal pressure is through action. This forces your mind to lock in on execution rather than expression. The absence of noise creates mental space, and that space allows priorities to become obvious and distractions to lose their grip. Momentum is fragile in its early stages, and silence helps preserve it. Early progress doesn't need an audience, it needs protection. When you announce what you're doing too soon, you invite feedback that can slow you down or cause you to question yourself before results have had time to form. Silence allows momentum to build quietly, step by step, without interruption, until it becomes strong enough to sustain itself. There is also a psychological advantage to silence that most people overlook. When you stop talking, you start observing. You notice patterns in your behavior, gaps in your discipline, and opportunities you would have missed while trying to be heard. Observation leads to awareness, and awareness leads to better decisions. Silence turns you inward, where real transformation begins. Silence removes the need to perform. When no one is watching, you stop trying to look productive and start being productive. You work longer, think deeper, and refine more carefully because there is no pressure to impress. This creates a level of authenticity in your effort that produces real progress instead of surface-level activity. Protecting your energy through silence also stabilizes your emotions. Conversations often pull you into reactions, defending, justifying, comparing. Silence keeps you neutral and centered. From that emotional stability comes consistency, and consistency is the true engine of momentum. You move forward steadily instead of in bursts followed by burnout. Vision grows clearer in quiet spaces. Without constant input from others, your goals become more defined and personal. You begin to understand not just what you want, but why you want it. That clarity strengthens commitment, and commitment strengthens endurance. Silence gives your vision roots instead of leaving it vulnerable to every external voice. Momentum thrives when your actions are aligned with your identity, and silence helps solidify that identity. When you stop talking about who you're becoming, you start proving it to yourself through behavior. Each disciplined action reinforces belief, and belief fuels further action. This internal loop accelerates progress without requiring external validation. Over time, silence changes how life responds to you. People start noticing results instead of words. Opportunities appear because your focus has been uninterrupted. Your energy feels stronger because it has been preserved rather than spent. Your vision moves faster because it has been protected long enough to gain traction. Focused attention is the difference between motion and progress. Many people stay busy all day yet move nowhere because their attention is scattered across too many tasks, thoughts, and distractions. When attention is divided, effort weakens. But when attention is concentrated, even small actions gain force. The mind works best when it is pointed in one direction, and the clearer that direction becomes, the faster meaningful results begin to appear. The speed of results is directly tied to how often your attention drifts. Every time focus breaks, momentum slows. Regaining concentration costs more energy than maintaining it, which is why distracted work feels exhausting while focused work feels powerful. When you train yourself to hold attention on a single objective, you eliminate wasted movement and compress time, allowing progress that once took months to happen in weeks. Quality is also a product of focus. When attention is shallow, work is rushed, details are missed, and outcomes are inconsistent. Focused attention allows depth. It encourages thought, precision, and refinement. Instead of producing something merely acceptable, you begin creating work that stands out because it carries intention and care, which naturally raises the standard of everything you touch. Focused attention builds skill faster than talent ever could. Repetition without focus creates habits, but repetition with focus creates mastery. When attention is fully present, feedback becomes obvious and adjustments happen immediately. This accelerates learning and reduces errors, allowing improvement to compound instead of reset with every distraction. Distraction creates the illusion of opportunity while quietly stealing progress. Each notification, comparison, or unnecessary conversation pulls attention away from the task that actually moves life forward. Focus requires deliberate boundaries, and those boundaries protect your time, your energy, and your future. What you allow to interrupt your attention determines how slowly or quickly your results arrive. Attention also shapes confidence. When focus is consistent, you begin to trust yourself because you see evidence of follow-through. That trust removes hesitation and increases decisiveness, which further speeds up execution. Focused people move with certainty because their attention is no longer split between commitment and doubt. Focused attention simplifies complexity. Large goals feel overwhelming only when attention jumps ahead to outcomes instead of staying on the next actionable step. When focus remains on the present task, pressure decreases and clarity increases. Progress becomes manageable, and steady execution replaces procrastination. Quality results demand mental presence. When attention is fully engaged, intuition sharpens and creativity flows more freely. Solutions emerge faster because the mind is not cluttered with unrelated thoughts. Focus creates a direct line between intention and action, reducing resistance and improving effectiveness. Sustained focus strengthens discipline. Each moment you choose to stay engaged instead of distracted builds mental endurance. Over time, this endurance becomes a competitive advantage, allowing you to outlast others who rely on bursts of motivation rather than controlled attention. The life you experience is shaped by where your attention lives most often. Focus determines what grows, what improves, and what remains stagnant. When attention is directed with intention and held with discipline, results accelerate and standards rise naturally. Confidence begins weak when it depends on approval, because anything that requires permission can be taken away. When your sense of self is tied to praise, agreement, or recognition, your actions become cautious. You hesitate, second guess, and adjust yourself to fit expectations that were never designed for your growth. Real confidence cannot survive in that environment because it is constantly being negotiated. The strongest confidence is internal. It forms when you decide that your standards matter more than opinions. At that point, your behavior stops changing based on who is watching. You act because it aligns with who you choose to be, not because it will be accepted. This shift removes friction from decision-making and allows you to move forward without waiting for reassurance. Seeking validation creates emotional dependency. Every compliment becomes fuel and every criticism becomes a threat. This emotional swing destabilizes progress. When validation is no longer required, emotions stabilize. You remain consistent whether you are praised or ignored, supported or doubted. That consistency is the foundation of unshakable confidence. Permission is another hidden limiter. Many people unconsciously wait for approval before taking action, even when no authority is present. Letting go of the need for permission is a declaration of self-leadership. It signals that you trust your judgment enough to act and adjust along the way. Confidence strengthens every time you choose action over hesitation. Self-trust grows through evidence, not encouragement. When you rely on validation, you avoid the discomfort of proving things to yourself. But when you move without approval, every disciplined action becomes proof of capability. That proof accumulates quietly, building confidence that doesn't collapse under pressure or criticism. External validation often rewards appearance, not substance. When you stop chasing it, you stop performing and start building. Effort becomes more honest, more focused, and more sustainable. Confidence rooted in substance lasts longer because it is based on what you've done, not what others have said. Releasing the need for permission also frees creativity. Fear of judgment limits expression and experimentation. Without that fear, you are willing to try, fail, adjust, and try again. Each iteration strengthens belief in your ability to figure things out, which is a deeper form of confidence than certainty. Confidence without validation changes how you carry yourself. Your posture, tone, and presence become calmer and more grounded. You no longer rush to explain or defend. Silence replaces justification, and that silence communicates self-assurance more powerfully than words ever could. When confidence no longer seeks validation, resilience increases. Setbacks are no longer interpreted as personal failures but as part of the process. You recover faster because your belief is not tied to immediate outcomes. This emotional durability allows momentum to continue even in difficult moments. Over time, confidence built this way becomes self-sustaining. It doesn't need to be announced or proven publicly. It shows up in how you decide, how you commit, and how you persist when no one is watching. Loud intentions create momentary excitement, but quiet execution creates lasting results. Talking about plans releases emotional satisfaction before any real work is done, which often reduces the urgency to act. Quiet execution removes that false reward system and forces progress to come only from action. When nothing is announced, the only way forward is through consistent effort. Public plans invite pressure before performance. Once intentions are shared, attention shifts from doing the work to managing expectations. This pressure can distort priorities, making appearance more important than substance. Quiet execution allows work to develop naturally without the weight of outside opinions influencing pace or direction. Compounding requires consistency, and consistency thrives in privacy. When progress is made quietly, there is no need to rush for approval or results. Small improvements stack day after day, and because they are uninterrupted, they multiply. Loud intentions often restart progress because each announcement resets focus to the beginning instead of building on what already exists. Quiet execution protects discipline. When no one is watching, excuses lose their audience. The work becomes a personal contract rather than a performance. This creates a deeper level of accountability, where progress is measured by internal standards instead of external reactions. Public plans can create premature identity. Declaring who you are going to be often replaces the work required to become it. Quiet execution delays identity until it is earned. Each action reinforces capability, and that reinforcement accelerates growth without the need for recognition. Silence during execution reduces distraction. Without constant updates, comparisons, or feedback, attention stays on the task. This uninterrupted focus allows skills to develop faster and systems to stabilize. The fewer interruptions involved, the smoother the compounding process becomes. Loud intentions attract opinions, and opinions introduce doubt. Even well-meaning feedback can slow momentum when it arrives too early. Quiet execution keeps belief intact during the most fragile stages of progress, allowing confidence to grow from evidence rather than reassurance. Compounding also depends on patience. Quiet execution trains patience because there is no immediate applause. You learn to value progress itself instead of reactions to it. This patience strengthens endurance, which is essential for long-term success. Results produced quietly carry more weight when they appear. They feel sudden to others, but they are the product of accumulated effort. This contrast between silence and outcome amplifies impact and credibility. Over time, quiet execution creates an unspoken advantage. While others repeat intentions, progress continues to stack beneath the surface, increasing speed and strength with every disciplined action. External circumstances rarely change on their own. They respond to the standards you are willing to live by. When your internal standards are low, you tolerate delay, distraction, and inconsistency. Life reflects that tolerance back to you in the form of average results. The moment you decide to raise what you accept from yourself, everything around you begins to shift in response. Internal standards govern daily behavior. They determine how you work when no one is watching, how you respond under pressure, and what you allow to remain unfinished. When those standards rise, sloppy effort becomes uncomfortable. You naturally begin to correct habits, refine systems, and demand more precision from your actions, which immediately improves outcomes. Raising standards changes decision-making speed. You stop debating actions that align with your values because the choice becomes obvious. Procrastination decreases because delay no longer fits your identity. This decisiveness increases momentum, and momentum alters circumstances faster than motivation ever could. Higher internal standards also reshape self-respect. When you consistently meet the expectations you set for yourself, trust forms internally. That trust influences posture, communication, and presence. People respond differently to someone who carries self-respect, and opportunities tend to follow those who demonstrate reliability and consistency. Circumstances improve because behavior improves. Better standards lead to better preparation, better follow-through, and better use of time. Over time, these behaviors accumulate and create leverage. What once felt out of reach becomes accessible because the actions required to reach it are now part of your normal routine. Raising internal standards reduces tolerance for environments that limit growth. You begin to distance yourself from distractions, unproductive relationships, and habits that no longer match who you are becoming. This selective filtering changes your surroundings, placing you in situations that support progress instead of resisting it. Higher standards also sharpen accountability. Excuses lose credibility when your expectations of yourself are clear. You become more honest about effort and outcomes, which accelerates correction and improvement. This honesty prevents stagnation and keeps progress moving forward. As internal standards rise, emotional discipline strengthens. You stop allowing moods to dictate behavior. Consistency replaces impulse, and that consistency produces predictable improvement. Predictable improvement creates confidence, and confidence influences how challenges are approached and solved. External results often lag behind internal change, but they eventually align. When standards remain high despite delayed rewards, resilience forms. This resilience keeps effort steady until circumstances catch up with the level of discipline being applied. Consistent self-discipline is the quiet force that removes randomness from life. When discipline is present, outcomes stop being dependent on luck, timing, or motivation. Preparation replaces hope. Instead of waiting for the right moment or the perfect conditions, disciplined behavior creates readiness, and readiness attracts results that words alone could never produce. Words are easy because they cost nothing in the moment. Preparation is difficult because it requires daily effort without immediate reward. Self-discipline bridges that gap by turning intention into routine. When actions are repeated consistently, skills sharpen, systems strengthen, and confidence grows from evidence rather than promises. Life responds to what you do repeatedly, not what you say occasionally. Consistent discipline signals seriousness. It demonstrates reliability, and reliability changes how opportunities show up. People, situations, and challenges begin to meet you at the level of your preparation, instead of testing your excuses. Preparation created through discipline reduces anxiety. When you know you've done the work, uncertainty loses power. You walk into situations calm and ready because effort has already been invested. This calm presence often looks like confidence, but it is simply the byproduct of preparation earned through discipline. Self-discipline also creates timing advantages. While others wait for clarity, disciplined individuals are already practicing, learning, and refining. When opportunities appear, they are ready to move because preparation has been ongoing. This readiness makes success look sudden, even though it has been quietly built over time. Consistent discipline builds momentum. Each completed action makes the next one easier, reducing resistance and increasing efficiency. Over time, effort compounds and progress accelerates without requiring more willpower. This momentum changes circumstances by increasing output and improving quality simultaneously. Preparation through discipline eliminates the need for explanation. When results are present, words become unnecessary. Performance communicates competence more clearly than intention ever could. Life aligns with demonstrated capability, not stated desire. Self-discipline also strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through regardless of mood or circumstance. This identity shapes behavior automatically, making consistency less of a struggle and more of a standard. When discipline is consistent, feedback becomes useful instead of threatening. You have enough practice and experience to adjust without losing confidence. This adaptability further aligns life with preparation because growth becomes continuous rather than reactive. Over time, disciplined preparation creates a predictable relationship with results. Effort leads to improvement. Improvement leads to opportunity, and opportunity leads to expansion, all without the need for loud promises or repeated explanations.